Adelante, And one of the 5 inches over.
Call this meeting to order. If you would please rise as we do the invocation of the pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey everybody, it's good to see a full boardroom this evening. Looks like we will start off with citizen comment. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any citizen comment this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have some citizen comment. I have a stack of them here. If anyone still has any, if they will make sure that Ms. Arietta in the front gets those. And if not, then the chairman will call you. And when you come up, if you will come forward to the podium, state your name, your address, and you will have 3 minutes.
Yes. Madam Attorney, you're going to be
I'll
timing.
time keep, so you'll hear the timer go off, and that concludes your time.
All right, we appreciate your cooperation in advance. So we'll start with Mr. Robert Kingman. Would you please come forward? The fourth, I apologize, I forgot the fourth part. I want to short you.
Hello, my name is Robert Kingman, 555 Glades Avenue. So I started fire class my very first year, freshman year. Cap was really nice. The thing is, I started with both of them, criminal justice and fire. Criminal justice I didn't like because there wasn't enough discipline there. I was wild, I was just all over the place. But when I was in fire, he put me in the class, put me in my place. Every time I messed up, I did push-ups. It just helped me stay better. This year, I was a lot better. A lot better in class, not so much flunky. I had better grades, better attendance. I had just more focus, better in general. Building trades too. I took building trades this year. The class is nice, teaches you how to use power tools. Like if I were in a situation I need to build a house, I already know how to do that.
Perfect time.
Is that it?
No,
Yeah, that was somebody else.
You don't have to use
You don't have to use it all. It's up to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're good, thank you. Okay. Jackie Radica?
Hi, I'm Jackie Radica from LaBelle, Florida, 5130 Martin Street, and I'm also a city commissioner. So I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to come over here and address you guys very much. As you know, that was my grandson. I'm very happy with the progress he's made being in the fire academy. I think it's a very important class. It has shown him tremendous discipline from last year to this year. I was really surprised that when he came over and he spent time with me, that it was yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, yes I'll do this, yes no that. So I was really impressed with the changes that it's made. And I know, because I looked up the curriculum from the Florida Department of Education and the things that this fire academy can show for these kids. kids is very, very important. And he's been in it for 2 years. He wanted to dual enroll. He even kind of made a life change where he wanted to become a paramedic possibly, is where he's looking into it. So I'm just here to beg and plead that we can try to keep that fire academy as well as the shop class. I think it's very important. Those are things that the kids need. Not every child is cut out to go to college. I didn't go to college, but I still made a good business for myself. I'm a certified building contractor. So I do okay for myself. But not everybody has to go into that college field. So if they're not, some of these other things teaches them how to spread their wings and how to be themselves. And that was one thing that I did find with Robert, that he actually found himself in this class. So it was a big thing, even between the two. So I'm just here to beg and plead if there's any possible way you guys can find it, that we can keep these classes, because I think it's very, very important for the future of these kids to look around. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next will be Julie Wilkins.
For the record, I'm Julie Wilkins, Mayor of the City of LaBelle. My address is 222 Martin Street in LaBelle. And I'm here on behalf of the city as a person or an institution that actually hires your graduates. We have 2 right now from the Fire Academy. And I talked to our fire chief, who couldn't be here on short notice. We just found out that the class wasn't continuing. And they're strongly in favor of having a class. We have a brain drain, and we have high turnover. People are going to other areas after we train them. Y'all know the feeling. You do it with school teachers all the time. So it's an usual situation for us, but it's one we like to stop. And our fire chief specifically said that he would rather hire hometown kids that know our streets, know the area, and are invested in the community and don't want to leave and avoid that. So I would like us, if it's not something that's tenable, and I just spoke with the superintendent, again, short notice and not a lot of background, that we find business education partners, we find a way to fund the teacher and keep the program going. And the program needs a little tweaking, so they graduate as a Fire 1. We've got scholarships available from the Southwest Heroes Foundation and some other organizations that would take them to Fire 2, and we can hire them immediately out of high school. And we're moving towards 100% full-time. It's a transition. We're a hybrid system right now, so we have full-time firefighters, sorry. We have women as well, my apologies. So it's a strong program that is helping us solve issues. And on the side of construction, having been in the industry with my family business, my husband's business, we need the trades, and the kids need to be trained, because that's the one thing they don't have. They walk onto a job, I know how to do this. No, you don't. You don't have a clue. But if they at least have the basics and understand how to use the tools and the safety, and just understand how to be on the job with the responsibility and the respect that's being taught. It's a critical program. So I'm not condemning you for not continuing with the program. I'm saying let's find an option. Let's work together, because vocational and education partnerships, occupation and career trip, they've been going on for hundreds of years, and we can make it happen if y'all work with us. So thank you.
Good job.
All right. Next, we'll have Jacob Bishel. Is that correct?
For the record, my name is Jacob Michelle. My address is 120 North Ridge Street. I live here in Lavelle. When I first went into my freshman year in high school, I had wanted to be fire, and I wanted criminal justice originally. And then after I learned who would be in charge of the fire class and who would be teaching it and what his character was and how involved he was with kids, I immediately switched to fire. Firefighting taking firefighting at the high school has taught me so much more, just past just how to be a firefighter, what happens, and all that. It's taught me character. It's taught me I can do things that I didn't originally think I could do because I've been pushed to do things that I didn't think I could do. And I believe that's something that can only be taught by certain people. I also think that it's good to keep the fire class because the people that live around here that would take the class would know the area. You also get more trained through the high school instead of just going to fire school. And you have more people that are involved in the community. And that's it.
Thank you. Aiden Barrios.
Is that correct?
I want to talk about Mr. Snow a little bit. When I was 8th grade, I went to the Spring Expo. We learned a lot of things. And I saw Mr. Snow's everything. I thought it was a great idea to take the class from my freshman year. I did get the class in my freshman year. I also joined football when I was freshman, but then I didn't know what technically football didn't teach me manners, like to say yes or no, man. So I quitted football and I joined his on-guard team. And we had good communication with each other for the past 6 months. I just want to say that he is very responsible, respectful man, and most honest person I ever met. And I I just want to say that I think we should keep his program because he also teaches us how to live, to protect other people, how to save people's lives, and to make matters good. We should help more society to become more better and more experienced as a firefighter.
Thank you, sir.
Emily Smith.
For the record, my name is Emily Smith. My address is 3012 Redwood Lane. As I'm sure all of us know by now, there is a petition going around to save the Fire Academy at LHS. I happen to be the one to create it. Now, I have never once wanted to be a firefighter, but this program is so much more than just the fundamentals of that. Not only are we learning what we would learn in fire school, but we're learning character, we're learning how to be better people. And that's what a good program does. My freshman year, I would have never imagined standing here speaking to this room, making a petition. But because of the character that has been built through that class and with that teacher, here I am today speaking and standing up for what I believe in. And not only that, but we learn how to use fire extinguishers, and that could save someone's life on a day-to-day basis. You don't need to want to go to fire school or be a firefighter to enjoy this program, to enjoy what it has to offer. So I encourage you, and I know 900 other people at least support me in this. If there is any way to save this program, it would be greatly appreciated by not only me, the students back there, but 900 people in this community. Thank you.
Rebecca Perkins.
I'm Rebecca Perkins, 3115 Perkins Drive, Lavelle. Our first encounter with Mr. Snell, or as his students call him, Cat, was my son's sophomore year at LHS open house. Walking into his class, and hearing all the former and present students coming by to say hello. Hey, Kat, how's it going? It was very impressive. You could tell he had made an impact on his kids. Since my son has been in both fire and EMR classes and a member of the LaBelle Honor Guard, myself, as well as family and close friends, have seen a tremendous change in him. The classes teach life-saving skills along with morals and values that we so desperately need to see with our young these days. The teacher, Kat, has went out to bat for my son whenever a fellow teacher refused to put grades in after being asked repeatedly over and over again. My son came home and told me what happened. And I said, well, I'll be there first thing in the morning. He said, no, it's all right. Kat took care of it. We need these classes and teachers like Kat. If you look at the headlines in Hendry County lately, they are very disheartening. Classes like EMR and fire, as well as the honor guard, are keeping our kids on the right path, keeping them out of trouble. I have had the privilege of being around these students and Kat to see the bond and respect, not only for each other, but for our country and our community. It's nothing I've ever seen before. My son didn't go to the fire academy thinking he wanted to be a firefighter. After only a few short months into the academy, he was certain that's what he wanted to be. I hope everyone sees that this is a huge mistake after the testimonies that you'll hear today and the ones we've already heard. We need more teachers like him. We need more programs like him, these programs to keep our kids on the right path. We have a lot of people moving in here, and I'm sure a lot of them aren't so great. They're trying to come and have our lifestyle because they're escaping what they came from. A lot of the children have had traumatic experiences in their life, mine being one of them. Before he started his freshman year, 2 weeks before he started his freshman year, we lost my husband. Not anything was offered to not one of my kids. Now, we did have Up the Grove come and pay their respects, but no one reached out from the school board. No one said, hey, how can I help you? But this teacher made a difference in his life. He stepped up when no one else did. This program is very beneficial. I know you guys have seen what he does for the kids. He just received an award, and then a couple days later got fired, but it's just very disheartening. And our kids, as you can tell, they've been moved by the program, and they've been moved by this teacher. I think we need to keep the programs and this teacher for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Jimmy Orlinski.
Right notes, just in case I mess up.
Just want to look forward to you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Jimmy Orlinski. I live at 1660 Ivan Boulevard. I want to start this off by saying, first of all, firefighters are way cooler than cops. I was a firefighter for 24 years. My son, since he has been in this class, I call him like a bandy rooster. I guess everybody can probably put that on those terms. He walks around proud, just like every one of these kids that are talking. The strength that this class is giving them to come up here and talk in front of you and the crowd. Kudos to you. Discipline. My son's usually disciplined anyways, but just watching the character of my son. Grocery store the other day, lady with water bottles. Older lady walks up to her, scared the heck out of her, don't get me wrong, and said, ma'am, can I put those in a car for you? On his own. This is the type of discipline that we need in our schools. This is what we need to show. These kids being proud, walking around in their uniforms. I think it's Thursdays you guys wear your uniforms? Wednesdays. just the proud that they wear, you know. I come from, my son comes from a divorced family, so when he forgets his uniform, I drive to his mom's and go get it because he wants his uniform. That's how proud he is of this. Ron has done awesome things with these kids. You know, after school, I'll see him, he goes, hey, you know, go see me a little down today. You know, might want to check on him or something. And I do. Me and my son talk very well. But I do want to just stress what role this plays. Let's go with this. I'm director with Hendry County Utilities, Port Bay Utilities. If let's say two graduates are looking for the same job at the academy, or not the academy, at the firehouse itself. You have one that has 4 years of an academy in school versus one that just came out and done it. Who are you going to choose? I'm going to go with the kid that doesn't quit. He showed me that he wants to stay and be part of this. That's the guy I'm going to hire. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Michelle? I said that last name.
My name is Tara Miller. I'm on behalf of Nancy Bishop. She resides at 120 North Riverview Street, LaBelle. I have been a resident of Hendry County for 20,
Excuse me, I'm sorry, you have to state your name as well.
oh, I'm so sorry, Tara Miller. My name is Nancy Bishaw, and I have been a resident of Hendry County for 20 years, working and volunteering in this county for more than 22. I'm not able to be at the meeting tonight, so I'm sending my statement with Tara Miller. I have 2 children in the Hendry County School District, a son who will be a senior at LaBelle High School and a son who will be a 5th grader at Up the Grove. In the 22 years I have been in this community, I've watched LaBelle grow and transform in many ways. My husband's family has been in Hendry County since the 1960s, with my late father-in-law graduating from LaBelle High, his aunt and uncle graduating from Lewiston. The growth that the county has seen in the last 3 years alone has been amazing, but also riddled with challenges. With the influx of people and new homes comes not only increased revenues and taxes, but an increase in the need for a diverse and quality education. One of the greatest challenges that I see as a parent is the need for more programs within the school system. Our schools are bursting at the seams with new families every single year. As administrators and board members, you all need to understand the need for quality educators, but also diverse programs of study. Not every child is going to be an athlete and excel in that avenue and play at the collegiate level. Not every child will excel academically and take AP classes at Go to receive scholarships or college. There will be children who need these CTE programs, the programs that keep them excited about coming to school. The programs that we will train them for a future in public service or trades, not just academics. These alternative career path programs are vital for some of these children who are not going to be able to afford to go to college. Talk to the students, talk to parents, talk to the community. We all need those willing to go into public service, those willing to build homes and roads, those willing to risk their lives to save yours. In August 2022, my son Jacob joined Captain Snell's Fire Academy as his education track for high school. This was hands down the best decision ever because he was a little nervous about high school. This program helped him become more confident, helped him to make some amazing friends, to be involved in the school and community. Jacob fell in love with firefighting and the science behind it all, and felt like he finally found his place. He then joined Honor Guard with Captain Snell and began becoming more interested in not only firefighting, but also began heavily considering joining the military. Through Honor Guard, he has learned how to handle our nation's flag, the proper etiquette of the flags, how to handle and present a rifle, how to march. He has presented our flag at numerous football games, band competitions, senior award ceremonies, and various other places throughout the community. They honored our veterans by placing flags and wreaths on the graves of the veterans.
If you could do closing comments.
We come before you today to ask that you not cut the Fire Academy at LaBelle High, to not eliminate the Honor Guard, to not cut Captain Snell from this position. Thank you.
you.
All right, now we're gonna call you back up.
Do you need to speak? Are you going to speak twice?
Are you gonna speak?
Yes, I have my own.
You have your own, all righty.
My name is Tara Miller. I reside at 6379 State Road 29 in LaValle. I have a freshman in the firefighting academy as well as honor guard. He spoke here a few moments ago. Before honor guard and before firefighting, he would not have come up here. Mr. Snell, he has said in the past, has helped him with his communication skills. He's also helped him with his morale and his undetermined skill to try to help people that are in need. I see it every day with my son. I see him walk into the grocery store. If somebody has 2 cases of water they can't carry, my son is offering. We need first responders. There's 23 out of 1,000 kids ages 10 to 17 that get arrested in Hendry County, and that's just in 2023. These kids need something to look forward to. They need to be able to have, I'm sorry, I got hers and mine mixed together. It's a blessing to our kids to be able to offer this in school. It is $4,000 per kid to take to Fire Academy. They wanted to leave LaValle High School and go to Fire Academy. It's $4,000 for them just to be able to attend something that's been a blessing for them to be able to receive. My son has been through strategies to save lives. That's what they're teaching these kids. They're teaching them real life scenarios. If something happens at the high school, these kids, they're trained to help and save lives possibly. The honor guard, I cannot touch base on that enough. We need people that honor our military. We need people that are respectful. They stand for God and country. And that's what these kids do. They're respectful. They're respectful to everyone here. They'll be respectful to complete strangers that they don't know. And that's what this world needs. While there's kids going out there doing crazy things at school, these kids are learning how to be real life adults too with real life problems. Some of these kids have had really tragic lives. And that teacher and specifically has helped a lot of these kids be able to find their voice and be able to live through things. Dignity and pride is just another thing I can touch base on. I really took a look at the financial statements through the school board, and there's a lot of really red flags going on with other expenses, furniture. There's millions and millions of dollars being wasted, and we're defunding programs like this. Thank you.
Apollo Hester.
For the record, my name is Apollo Hesser. I reside at 1175 Tampa Avenue, Lewiston. I'm here tonight because I have 4 kids in this school district. And this school district is failing our children. Not just in cutting programs like the Fire Academy, which as a veteran, I love hearing what these people are saying about the Fire Academy and the Honor Guard, because the military taught me honor, taught me discipline, taught me accountability. When I had none of that direction, if I could have got that in high school, oh man, my life would have been so much different. And the trade support, not all of our kids are cut out for college. That's just part of life. I wasn't, you know. And learning a skilled trade is what puts food on my family's table. And cutting programs like this is robbing our children of their futures. And then on top of that, we have administrators and staff in these schools who are subpar and unacceptable, who take it upon themselves to disregard disciplinary board recommendations and do other things outside of those disciplinary board recommendations and remove children from school when the incident wasn't even that child's fault. Things like that go unchecked and get swept under the rug. Hush, hush, no one cares. What that hurts is the student. We got rid of LYDA because of budget cuts. These kids who are at risk have nowhere to go. They get sent home and they're told to go to school online. That's not good for at-risk kids. They need structure. They need someone there in the classroom with them, guiding them. So this school board is failing our students. And I've got names I'll gladly give you guys since there's TV camera here. I'm not going to do it in front of everyone, but if you guys would like, I have several names I'd gladly give you all about people you need to look at within our schools. But at the end of the day, this district is failing our students, and the buck stops with you guys. And I expect more out of my public servants, because at the end of the day, that's what y'all are. You're public servants. You're here to listen to the community and then instill what the community wants into the district. So I expect you guys to do better. Thank you.
Okay, that we do not do. Do we have any other comment cards turned in?
That's all.
No, we did not have any. I have one board member that would like to speak real quickly.
Mr. Chairman, put it down line, 3 minutes.
2.5.
Paul Stanley, I'm a board member from LaBelle, Florida. My son was in the fire academy for 4 years. My son is not an academic student. In middle school, we would struggle. I look up online every week and follow his grades. Oh, look at this. Wow, what do you get a D? What is it? All the time. It seemed like sometimes he's rounded, sometimes not. Okay, every week we're doing this all through middle school. Okay, it went on. And he joined the fire academy. All of a sudden, talk about character development changes. You heard that every time someone spoke. Their character, his character changed so much. Yes, sir. No, sir. That's unbelievable. He would, I said, well, I got to check your grades. Well, you don't have to check my grades. I check my grades. That's part of the academy. I have to do this. I have to keep my grades above C's, otherwise I have issues there. But he loved his uniform. He walked tall, and he did that for 4 years. And I'll tell you, it made a big change in both our lives. So I just, I think it does provide a service that you can't deny. Now, he did not. I would have thought he's always going to be a fireman. Christmas, we buy him the fire bags and everything he needed. Then he moved into a different direction. So not everybody that goes through that program, but the character development counts. And so maybe we can service them in another way. If we're not doing that, we need, I think that whole concept of that is really important. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I will say that I am a big advocate of the CTE programs. I'm into the trades. That's what I do for a living. That's what makes, like most of you, that's what puts the food on my table. Okay, that's what has provided for me for many of years. Okay, so believe me when we talk about having to cut anything that has to do with that kind of stuff, because I agree wholeheartedly with most of you about the fact that some of these kids just aren't going to college. Some of these kids, these programs are what actually keeps them coming back to school, right? I agree 100%. And I think our staff, Mr. Swindle and all of his staff does a fantastic job of realizing that and understanding, and I don't think that they look at anything like that in just a willy-nilly way. I think they really do try everything that they can. So, but here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them to look at it extremely hard to make darn sure there is absolutely no way that we can do it. If there's any way possible to make something else happen, I think he will do that. And we're going to ask him to do that, just take one more real good look at it and see what we can do if there is a possibility. Financially, folks, the reality I understand is it's like running a business. You aren't going to be able to run a business and go broke and keep running the business, right? So that's kind of where we're at. So my heart's with you guys. It really is. I don't want to see any programs get cut from our school system, not like this. So, any other board
Mr. Chairman.
members?
So, I like to commend everybody for having the courage to get up here and speak before a public audience today, particularly with the news cameras in the back of the room. I know that's not easy for many people. I want everybody to know I heard what you said loud and clear, and particularly I heard what Mr. Hester said loud and clear. And I don't take his words as an insult. I take that as a reality check, and I take that seriously because I know the kind of public servant that I want, and that guide's the kind of public servant that I want to be for the community. And so I think that being said, there is a lot of misconception on how decisions are made. And so the best way to describe this is the board collectively says, this is what we're focused on, the what we want. And the administration, their job is to figure out how to do that. And so what the board wants is a balanced budget. I don't think we have delved into that, and if I can, lovingly criticize ourselves here, I think that we would all be better served if we took a more hands-on approach to the fiscal planning as outlined in the development of the fiscal planning as outlined in our existing policy about fiscal planning. That being said, I hear what you're saying loud and clear. I know how programs can be lifelines for families, save families, and I think the ones and children. And so I want to echo what Chairman Basquin said and ask Mr. Swindle if he would be willing to, at this point, walk us through the decision-making process. And then explain the decision-making process where we're at right now and see if we can go back and configure and figure out how much, because I heard a promise of community collaboration on this, and figure out what is the exact dollar amount that it's going to require every year, not just 1 year, every year for this to be sustainable, and put the numbers down on where this program is now and where it has to be for continued sustainability. Because I may be misspeaking on this, but I feel like, we're not getting any more money from the legislature. We don't get to, it filters down to us. We get a pot of money and this is how we have to spend it. And it's we're very much told what we can spend it on. A comment about furniture expenditures, that comes from a different pot of money than what we can spend on career technical education. We literally have to spend that money, LCIF or sales tax money or whatever it is, on specific things. And so I just would like, the superintendent maybe to speak to the decision-making process and sit down and figure out what that number is for sustainability and put that number on paper and then reach out to the community partners who are here to voice support for this and see if this is something that we can work towards and get that enrollment and those certifications up where they are as sustainable. Because Mr. Swindle knows, he knows more than anybody. When we hired him, gosh, how many years ago it was, we had a CTE program that I don't even know if we could afford a secretary for you at that point. And the board had to put the front money up, but then he had to make it sustainable. And so every program is like that. And so just finding that number and what it's going to take to get there, I think would be very important. So if you would like to segue from that.
Sure, absolutely. So let me say that you may or may not know that my background is CTE. I was an ag teacher my whole career before I went into administration for the school. So to the students and the parents, I know firsthand what you're saying and the impact that the CTE programs have on students' lives. I know firsthand what impact the LaBelle Fire Academy has on students' lives. I've seen it. I've been there. I've been in games. I've been in the classroom. I've observed. And so I'm with you. I don't disagree whatsoever. However, what Ms. Busen was referring to was that we're also a business. And within a business, you have to make sure that you don't spend more than what you can afford to pay. In a business or at home or your bank account or no matter where that may be. And ultimately what we look at is we look at a number of what's known as a student load that a program or any class has. and classes have to maintain a minimum student load of a certain amount to be able to, that the funding that we get from the state to sustain the break-even point for that said classroom teacher and the expenses that go along with it. And simply in this situation, the Fire Academy numbers just basically got below the break-even point of what we were receiving, and has been there for a couple of years, and we've been working with them and hoping that it would get more. And the students that we have here tonight are wonderful. There's a ton of success that's going on there, but simply the quantity of them do not make it sustainable as a business. So I think what I heard from Mary Wilkins was that, hey, let us step in and help, shore up the funding and support with that. I think what I'm hearing from the board is, if you can work with them and make that happen, then I'm all ears, and I'm more than willing to put that on the table. But I'm telling you as a school board that we can't afford to stay in a situation to where it costs us money to run programs that way and then sustain our business at the end of the day. And so what we have done by looking at these programs from a district level and on each school level is we call it right sizing, if you will, right? Making sure that we have the right number of students to support the program, support the teacher, and make that a viable business, if you will. I know it's education, and I know that that's where the two clash, because we know the value of this program, but we also know the economics that we receive don't support that. So if the community, the city, wants to meet us with that and help us shore that up or fund it, we'll provide the place, we can provide the students and the access. If y'all want to provide the teacher for it, we're all ears. We're more than willing to work to make that happen. Now, we got to do it in pretty short order because we're on a kind of a short time here. But if that's the case, then I'm absolutely willing to work that out and bring that back to the table.
Mr. Chair, dollars, do we know how much? Because that.
I don't off the top of my head sitting here today, I couldn't tell you I do, but it's pretty easy to come up with, and we can provide that.
Let us know, please.
Okay, will do. And I do want to say to all the students and parents that came tonight, we appreciate you coming and advocating, no matter for this or any program. And again, just rest assured we're there with you. It's not that we think this is not a good program. I love Mr. Snell myself. He's a great guy, and I know the impact he does. So I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate the city and the constituents and the supporters saying that this is important to you too, and we'll work with you to make it happen.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Could we work towards having something at the next meeting in Laval?
We don't have to do it at a meeting. So the board, so basically what Ms. Buston says is they set their expectations and administration carries that out. The expectation's there. So if it can happen, then we can do this, right?
Okay, thank you. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
All right, thank y'all. And y'all are welcome to stay for the next 4 hours of meeting if y'all want to. That's totally up to y'all. But, yeah.
That depends, if they're gonna make more budget cuts, we'll stick around.
I'm sorry?
If they're gonna be more budget cuts, because we'll stick around.
So what I can tell you about that is right now that the Florida House of Representatives has recommended $4 billion cut to the state budget. And if that happens, there will be more cuts. There's no way around it.
Right, so what's being in place of the fire academy and the construction trade that's being taken from the high school?
We're looking at, we did a survey amongst the students on Friday, and we had 138 students ask before lunch on Friday, say, please make sure I get into the culinary class.
Can I comment on that?
I don't know if we want to go into comment. I mean, I don't mean to be rude and disrespectful, but it's really, meetings are not meant to be back and forth or questions and answer sessions.
Until they took the class, none of them knew that that's what they wanted to do.
I mean,
Until they
Yeah.
took the class.
And I have the financials
Well-
for the school board right here for the 2025, 2026
You're
year.
gonna, I mean, sure, maybe you do what you want, but I.
So we're
this is-
gonna, again, not to be rude, we can't keep going like this. We do have to conduct a business meeting yet, folks. And we do greatly appreciate all of your comment inputs, but we do have other business that we have to attend to.
And I'm happy to meet with anyone, so if any parent wants to meet with me, I'll happily take a
I
place,
sent the
so.
governor an email, if I hear back from him, he'll be the person.
Awesome, thank
Can we
you.
schedule a meeting with you, sir?
Please do, thank you.
How do we do that?
Through Ms. Alexis Arietta, if you go on the website, our number and email and everything's on there.
All right, thank you. I appreciate
Yes,
your guys' time.
Yep.
I didn't mean anything. I said it's an insult.
Okay, didn't take it that way.
It wasn't taken that way, Mr. Hester. I
We appreciate you showing up. Thank you. Okay. We will move on to the consent agenda. So, do we have any board member that would like to have anything from the consent agenda removed and put as an action item?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like item D, annual Florida School Board Association dues, moved to an action item, please.
Okay. Okay, so consent agenda D, item D will become action item F. Do we have any,
Will we just discuss item E, starting and stopping times? I just want to know, the state kept changing it at the legislature. Are we good with the state legislature's starting time stops?
One of the last things the legislature did last week was give us the option that they still say, we still want you to abide by this unless you, within your local districts, want to change it and you can show us why it's good for you. So we have the option to either stay where we are or go to the new one or anything in between. So they did give us that ability.
So with this, are we approving the start time, stop times?
We're approving, we do it every year, we approve the coming year's times.
Yes.
And there was some tweaks to the Clewiston side, and mainly for the bus routing was what we had to do it for. So there was no major change in it, and it wasn't to take effect until the 26-27 school year if we had to change it anyway. So we still have one more year to go. But now, what my intentions, and I believe the district's direction is going to be, is let's do what's right for our schools. Let's do what's right for Hendry. And that's what statewide, everybody was kind of just saying.
Sure.
You know, there were some districts that went on ahead and changed to it and were okay with it. There were some that did and had to switch back because they weren't. And so we're just saying, every year we'll look and we'll make what changes we need to make that's best for our families, our schools, our transportation department, and do what's right in Hendry.
Good. I just didn't want to be in conflict with it.
Right, we are not.
Good.
We will have to do next year, if we don't go to the new times, we will have to work with the state to give them the justification for why we did not. But they've already given us the outline and guidance for it. We shouldn't have any problems doing that.
And when you talk to the principals and stuff like that, people seem pretty happy with the schedules we've been having.
That's right. Yes, we give them the opportunity to talk and have buy-in on that. And so far, and I'll get to it later, but we did the superintendent talk schools last week, and out of the people that we surveyed anyway, 100% said they were not in favor of switching to the state recommended times.
Wow.
So not one person was in favor of it.
That being said, there were a handful.
It was, well, that's what I was.
But he is telling the truth about the handful of folks.
100% of the small handful said that.
So, no, that answers my question.
Okay.
But I didn't see it as an action item. We have Sodexo here tonight with a presentation.
Yes, sir. No, it's action item D.
that's down here,
Oh, further down.
in your action
Yes, sir.
item? It's
Okay.
an action.
It's an action item.
Yeah.
That's okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Anything else from the board before we move forward with it? Mr. Superintendent, do we have a recommendation on the consent agenda?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I recommend the approval of the consent agenda with the exception of item D.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Houston, seconded by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we will move on to action items. Superintendent, action item 4A, new personnel allocation request. Do we
Yes, sir.
have a recommendation?
Yes, sir. Action item 4A, because of our growing school population in the LaBelle side, we're having to add a unit at at Country Oaks Elementary, and that's what this action item covers, the new position that we need to add there. So I recommend approval of action item 4A.
Second. Motion by Ms. Nelson, seconded by Reverend Brown. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, looking at those enrollment numbers, so it's not like Clewiston where, the elementary schools just like get divvied up equally. It's geographic zoning, and I've noticed just like a huge increase in the enrollment at Country Oaks. And then other have had very moderate increases. Is there any kind of consideration for how we determine enrollment or school zones or?
We've talked about that, and as a matter of fact, we've gotten to a point where we actually were full of Country Oaks, and we were moving some of the students to other schools. And so the short answer is yes, but the long answer is once we move those schools in 2 years, it's all going to have to be redone anyway.
Okay.
And so we just are kind of dragging our feet, doing what we got to do to get to that point in 2 years where we can make one official move and be done with it.
All right, I didn't even think about that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? No, hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to action item 4B, another new personnel allocation request for behavioral health data specialist for ESC.
Yes, sir. I believe this one is pretty self-explanatory within the description and in the print, and so therefore I recommend approval of action item 4B as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mrs. Houston, second by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any discussion?
Just a quick question. We have 5 action items printed here, but on my computer, I only see 2. So, like, I wanted to look that up.
You didn't have, you get an old version or something?
I don't know. Okay, certainly. can.
Okay, but to work with IT to make sure what you're looking at
Okay.
after the meeting.
Because, see, I got the 2 action
Mine is
items
fine.
today.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an old,
Did you close out and reopen it today? Yes, it's got.
Mr. Simmernick broke it.
You might be on the wrong meeting. Here, just look at mine.
I still look at yours. Thanks.
No cheating.
All right, thank you. That answers my question.
All right. So did we have a recommendation? We had your
So moved.
recommendation, so we need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sammerdike, and then seconded by Mrs. Busen. Do we have any discussion? Hear no other discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to action item 4C, permission to advertise the notice of proposed policy updates.
Yes, sir. This is another round of our efforts to keep up with the ever-changing legislative bodies and the rules that come down to the Department of Education, especially through our Neola services. These obviously have to be advertised for a set period of time, and then they'll come back to you ultimately for their vote and adoption. However, but we do have to advertise them. So I recommend approval of action item 4C, the permission to advertise as presented.
So can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mrs. Houston,
Brown,
seconded by Reverend Brown. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carries 5-0. We'll move on to action item 4D. Approval of the Sodexo Award, Food Service Management, RFP. Superintendent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you well know, Sodexo has been a partner with Hendry County with food services for several years. We have gone through an RFP process, and tonight they're here to give you a presentation and answer a few questions that were asked at the last board meeting. I know Ron is a great representative. I know we got Kevin. Are you going to introduce the rest of your team so everybody kind of knows who everyone is, just to be on the safe side?
So, Mr. Superintendent, board chair, members of the board, my name is Ron Gomez, Director of Business Development for Sodexo, and I'm responsible for the Florida market with new sales and retention. And with me here today is Kevin Eaton, who's the district manager. He focuses specifically on Florida business. And then we have Deb Whitmire, which is our senior vice president. She manages and lose track of a number of states, but a lot of states. So she's responsible for a large book of business. But our partnership here is very important, so we wanted to make sure that we came here and we were able to address any questions that you have regarding the food service management company contract. And then you already know Evan and Mike and Sam Juanita, so I'm not going to introduce them. But as you know, we put together a food services bid, and at the last board meeting, the question was asked about some of the things that we've done within the child nutrition program. So first I'm going to go over some of the things that we've done in the past, and then I'm going to talk about what we're going to do moving forward. So just a few things in regards to the meal count. When you take a look at the breakfasts that we did, I'm going to call out a couple of things. So with breakfast, the year prior to Sodexo, we were roughly at 2,000 meals per day. This last year, we finished up and we were at 2,500 meals per day. So while it says 21% increase since the beginning of the contract, if you look back before the contract started, we've increased 25%. So this is the only time I'll talk about some of the things that we're going to do in the future, but we're also going to add breakfast carts and work with the superintendent and the administration and make sure that we continue to increase the number of meals.
You're not at a 3-minute time limit. You got to slow this down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like marathon listening over here.
All right. So I will take my time. Thank you, Stephanie. So breakfast, we went from 2,000 meals per day before the contract started with Sodexo. We've increased 25%. So we're going to add breakfast carts moving forward, so you're going to see those numbers increase even more. The second thing is when you focus on the average daily participation, if you take a look at it, it's the fourth line, we had 7,000 meals average per day before Sodexo started. We've gone up almost 20% at 8,300 meals per day. And then when you take a look at a la carte is where students actually come in and they pay money for the food. So typically, when you see a high number like we did before we started, that means that kids may not have liked what was being served for free, so they ended up spending their own money. So a good indication of a strong program where kids want to eat the food is when that number continues to go down. So you see a drastic reduction of kids that now are no longer spending their money, they're taking the food that's available to them for free. Especially with Hendry County, where it's a community eligibility participation program, that means that all the students are eligible to eat for free. So you want it to be appealing so that way kids are nourished and they're able to focus on education. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about is from a financial standpoint. When we first started the partnership with Hendry County, you have a child nutrition fund balance that can only be spent on that child nutrition fund. So no matter how much you make, you can only spend it on child nutrition fund activities. So for example, furniture, equipment, things of that nature. When we started with Hendry County, you were at $400,000 in this fund balance. The most you can carry is 3 months worth of operating expenses, so roughly $2 million, that's the cap that you can have before the state comes in and says, hey, we need a plan on what you're going to do to spend this money down in order to make sure that you're reinvesting into the program. So what we're proud of is over the 10 years, we've taken you from $400,000 to $4.5 million. So we've increased that number by over 10 times. And the only reason we're able to do that is because you see the growth of the participation. So now it's become something where you have a lot of, hold on, this is like that.
Big cable.
So now you're in a position where you're in a very strong financial standing. So you think about it, if you were in the stock market, if you were able to get a 10 times return over 10 years, I think it's an indication of the strong program that we've been able to do, not just with our work, but it's also in partnership with the administration. And when we bring in creative ideas that we work on implementing. So that's what we've done in the past. Now let's talk about the future.
What about teacher lunches?
Do we have the teacher?
We can get you that number, but yeah, there was a significant increase in teachers,
Okay.
especially in the last 5 years.
So we'll get that information.
If I'm not mistaken, one of the things that the board had requested was that the teachers have some differentiated type of meals. And I think that my response that I received back was that the teachers were very happy with the options that Erwin and team provided there.
So now, the way I describe it is this is the evolution of the child nutrition program. So now that we focus on getting you into a strong financial footing, now what's next for the program? So it continues to go ahead and have an upward trajectory. So there's certain things that we did as part of the proposal design for this upcoming 5 years. One of the first ones is we're investing into what's called the game changer smokers at the high schools. So the game changer smokers, we introduced them a couple of years ago in Sewanee County when we were awarded the business right there. And it's essentially a commercial grade indoor smoker where you could go ahead and program it and do any type of meats that are on there. Just like you would at a traditional barbecue place, you have different blends of wood that you could go ahead and put in there, wood pellets, and it actually has the aroma in here when you're going into the cafeteria. So here's a few different things that we've done with the menus that are favorites from Sewanee County. We had our national chef come in, create some recipes specifically for schools that we know are going to meet the USDA guidelines, and also got student tested. So we had a focus group where we brought in students and we wanted them to give us their input on what they thought were their favorites. And these are the things that students here at Hendry County will see in the upcoming year.
So, excuse me, Mr. Chair, it wasn't Hendry County students who got to sample food?
No, this was, when we first launched the smoker, it was 2 years ago. So we were already here. So based on the success that we saw in Sewanee County, we're bringing some of those recipes here, but we'll definitely be able to do some focus groups right here once we install the smokers and get what are their favorites, because sometimes there are some regional differences, and that'll be some of the things that we'll be able to do. So we got this catalog of different recipes, so we'll be able to go ahead and test those out here and make sure that we're providing what the students like. Because at the end of the day, just like when you saw that first page where we had the number of meals, that's our scorecard. We're looking at how many meals can we go ahead and increase in introducing programs. You're welcome.
How do you sign up to be a part of the adult focus group?
Erwin?
Yeah. Kevin's taking notes over there, Ms. Steve.
Lunch soon.
Oh, by the way, the other thing that we're doing, I already mentioned it, for students. Sometimes there's logistical challenges with where a student is dropped off between them being able to get to class, getting on time, et cetera. So we're working with the administration in order to make sure that we provide these breakfast carts that are strategically placed so students are fed.
So what will be on the breakfast carts?
Normally it's grab and go items, so it's on the go, so we can put it a mobile POS, and as kids get off the bus, if they're, in some areas they may get dropped off further away from the cafeteria, so they don't have to go there. They only have 5 minutes, so we're going to work with the administration on where we place these carts at a convenient location. That doesn't bottleneck certain areas, but kids still get an opportunity to eat.
But I guess what his question is what? So I believe it's like muffins, right? I guess muffin in a wrapper and fruits.
Yeah, you got your basic, you gotta have like a milk or juice, your fruit,
Yeah.
and a breakfast item. Breakfast items can be, something cold, it can be something warm, we can do a biscuit or something here and there. It's just, we have a rotating.
Okay, so it won't be the same thing every day, it'll be something they can put on that. It's easy, you can grab a biscuit and keep walking to your class and eat it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering, because I mean, you can't, it's kind of hard to take the milk and cereal and walk and eat it, and that's why I was at, what are we going to be putting on these carts?
Stuff like that, it may be different from one campus to the next because of where the kids are going to be able to stop and eat that breakfast. The other thing that we're going to look at doing is second chance breakfast. So sometimes kids get to school late, and we'll work with the administration between first and second period where they're able to grab a lunch or breakfast and eat a meal as well. We've seen a lot of positive results with programs like that and getting more kids to eat breakfast.
Thank you.
Another thing that we're doing is we have a food truck that's going to be introduced in the fall. So with this, we have different things. We'll rotate the menus, and it'll have traditional themed food truck items. So you see some things on here. In the fall, we're going to do a tour of major cities and their cuisine throughout the U.S. So you here see, for example, stop one will be the Chicago Italian beef sandwich. We'll have a Boston chicken parmesan, a Philly style cheesecake. So it's just things to go ahead and get kids excited about the program and do different limited time offerings that generate interest and increase students participating in the lunch program. And then one of the other things we wanted to do, we would not have been able to have the success that we've had here in Hendry County without the employees. One of the things that I think you should be proud of is you're one of the few child nutrition programs in the state of Minnesota. Sodexo has a great program that we've been able to leverage, having a good amount of food service workers and very little vacancies. Other food service programs don't have that, but we want to make sure that we are providing a strong wage for employees, and we show them our appreciation. So there's a few things that we did as part of this offer. One of them is at the start of the contract, every employee is going to receive a 3.5% increase. They're going to receive a $1,000 retention bonus. And I think one of the things that was very strong and positive when I talked to Mr. Swindle is that you're going to have a dedicated chef. We're going to hire an executive chef that's going to be specifically dedicated to Hendry County. So this chef, and you all just talked about the culinary program, that's going to be something that he could go ahead and get involved, he or she could get involved in with your culinary program. But the primary focus is going to be coming in, teaching culinary skills to, or enhanced culinary skills to our employees, coming up with different creative items. So we talked about the smoker. If there's some certain recipes that we get some feedback on that's or specific to the Hendry County area, you'll be able to generate some of those recipes. You'll have the support from higher level chefs. Like I mentioned, the national chef that came in and worked on some of these recipes. Those are some of the access things that you'll have and your students will have as part of our offer for this upcoming year. And then the last thing is, we talked about what were some of the things that we're going to do from a negotiation standpoint. We appreciate the business of Hendry County. We want to make sure that we addressed pricing, so we did go to a $3.99 price, and then we said, look, we're so confident that we're going to be able to generate a strong surplus and increase student participation that we're going to offer a guaranteed surplus. So we're guaranteeing that in this upcoming year, after you pay us and all the bills that are attributed to the Child Nutrition Fund, there is going to be an $800,000 surplus that will work with Hendry County to continue to reinvest some of these funds into different things. So one of the ideas that we heard, and we're going to look to make sure that we make it happen for year 2, is a tortilla maker. So we'll see, you know, I don't know if y'all been to Chevy's, if you've been to Orlando, they have the tortilla, something along those lines, so we have fresh tortillas. So stuff like that is important, to make sure that we're bringing different innovations, but not just that we're putting them in a position where there's forward thinking going on, and what we're going to do to reinvest some of these funds that are being generated by the food service program.
I'd like to add to that Mr. Busey and his team also have been doing a really good job with regard to the fund balance. And if you go in our cafeterias, pretty much all new floors, painting, tables, where when you go in, it's a nice appearing place, not dingy floors and dirty stuffs. The kitchen areas, I know we've got some new coolers, new freezers. We added on CELC. It's got a brand new kitchen cooler and everything there. And so not only the food quality, which is really what we're asking them to invest their time, making sure it's good, we're taking that fund balance and making sure that our appearance and then our ability to look like a cafeteria in a high quality food area, you know, is appealing to the students as well.
And on behalf of the rest of the Sodexo team, thank you for being such a great part of the union administration.
Sure, absolutely. We're glad to do it.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Hendry, yes.
Sure. So our paras, especially the elementary schools, I try to get in all the elementary schools, like what are the lunchrooms and stuff like that. And our paras, because we got pre-K, K and stuff like that, our paras are so helpful to our students. A lot of times they have to carry the trays, they open the milk, they do all this. And I thought maybe at Christmas, you could recognize our paras. It's very nice that you send the school board a big fruit basket every year to all the members, but they're never in the cafeterias. They're not helping the kids. They're not helping Sodexo. But we're right until we sign the contract. I thought, you know, some little gift or something to these people that they do all that work every day. They're carrying it, and they like it. They get the napkins, and the kids are doing great, and they're eating it and so forth. But I thought maybe you could do a little something for our parents, particularly at the elementary school.
I appreciate that, Mr. Sandberg. I think this is more of a question for our senior vice president.
You're shaking your head, yes.
Okay. So yes, we will.
Just a little recognition.
No, absolutely. And look, I didn't know about
They
that.
love, I mean, our parents love the kids, and they work so hard for them. And that's something. Thank you for being so nice to our kids.
I agree, Mr. Samright. They're doing the Lord's work. I was at the Clewiston Early Learning with the 3 and the 4-year-olds, and whoa, I mean, these people are going to heaven for sure. And so they're making it happen for Sodexo, and like, you know, indirect partners, but they are definitely making it happen to ensure those kids can.
That's great to hear. Look, I definitely appreciate it, and I'm sure that the next time I'm at a school, and Kevin or anybody else on our team will make sure that we thank them, because we visit schools. We're not always there to see some of those things in action, so it's good to hear. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have anything? So is the buffet in the back? Because the Girl Scouts are showing you up, man. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, I mean, the brisket and all that, I mean, we're at the smoker.
The Girl Scouts made us look bad. We should have got the memo, like, they come with some samples.
You know,
all I have is a cop run.
Yeah, I mean, I want some samples from this smoker. I'm like, you got me intrigued now.
And look, one of the things that we did at Hendry County, after a couple months, we actually had some training for our employees. We invited anybody that wanted to come in, and we did a sample day. So I'm sure we'll do that here sometime in October.
Right.
Have almost like a ribbon cutting ceremony.
Yeah.
So y'all can go ahead and see what are some of the things that we should be offering, and give us some feedback. I mean, there may be a thing where when we did it at Suwannee County, we had a number of different things, and you know, you just want to hear, hey, these are the ones, this is awesome. Some people here like, yeah, you know what, maybe the work's up further at the northern side of the state, but not over here. So yeah, we welcome the feedback, and we'll be sure to set something up.
You know, smoking is not an easy thing to do. You can mess up some food real quick, and you can make some real good stuff too. So I'll be curious to see how that works out.
Oh yeah.
I like the thought though.
Yeah,
that's great.
I smoke some good weed, so I can appreciate what you're saying.
So, yes, sir. All right.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say quickly,
Do we have
with the addition of the executive chef and with Mike as my operations manager, I look forward to my golf game I'll be breaking 80. We'll be providing the very best service that we can.
Do we have a recommendation?
Yes, sir, we have we will have a recommendation, but I need to preface that with, I'm not going to ask for a vote tonight, and we'll come to the reason why here in just a moment. But I would like to say that we went through the entire RFP process, and through the RFP process, we selected 2 of the top ranking. I'm sorry, after the RFP, we selected 2 of the highest ranking based on the submissions. 2 of those came in and gave presentations. Out of those 2, during the presentation, Sodexo was an obvious and clear winner based on several factors that we look for with regard to our food service provider. On top of that, Sodexo has been an excellent partner, meeting the challenges that we've had and meeting the requirements and requests of the board, the principals, and everyone involved. And I would also say the community. Don't forget that 2 years ago this month, we had a roof blow off of a nursing home. Nothing to do with the school system, but Irwin, San Juanita, and team showed up at Coluson High School and fed an entire nursing home that night because they had lost their entire building. So they've been a great school partner, a good community partner. We're very grateful for them. Based on the April 15th meeting, this board empowered me and team to go back and renegotiate or further negotiate on a couple of items such as the pricing and some other items, and those were addressed tonight. And so they did adjust their price down a little bit, so it's roughly a 9 to 10 cent difference within price. They are offering the executive chef employee raises, which y'all know are very important to all of us, even though they're their employees, they're our people, right? And so we're very, very grateful for that. I will recommend at the proper time Sodexo be continued and renewed for the food service contract. However, there's a specific reason that we cannot do it tonight. I'm going to let Attorney Tanner explain that to you.
Yes, and I'll be very brief. We received a notice of intent to protest from another bidder. So pursuant to our board procedures, specifically board procedure 6326, we have to stay further process of awarding the contract to ensure that we abide by that policy. It's questionable whether or not the notice of intent to process was timely. So we're going to investigate that. There's a chance that it was not, and there's no further action needed on that front, and we can proceed with the consideration of the superintendent's recommendation. But to ensure that we abide by all of the rules that we have to, we are going to move this agenda item to another night so that we can explore what we need to do on the other.
Okay. Any questions about that? My intention will be to bring this back, have it resolved and bring it back to you on the May 20th board agenda. So we just want to make sure that we do it correctly and follow procedures so we don't have to go back and readdress the RFP or reissue the RFP and go through the process again. We'd rather get it right rather than that. So want to make sure you guys are aware of that as well.
And we wanted to make sure that you had the chance to present anyway
Right.
since you came tonight.
You were here, so we didn't want to tell you till then.
Yes, exactly. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes. Appreciate you guys.
So that will be moved to our next meeting.
That is correct.
All right, so we'll take that. Thank you for coming and presenting again. Very,
You're welcome
very
to stay for the
excited.
next 3 hours of the meeting if you want.
2.5 left. That's good. All right, we will move on to action item 4E then, non-instructional reappointments. Mr. Superintendent, do we have a recommendation?
Yes, sir. I recommend action item 4E for your favorable consideration as presented.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mrs. Houston, seconded by Reverend Brown. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will move on to, which is now our action item 4F, our annual FSBA dues. Mr. Superintendent, do we have a recommendation?
Yes, sir. I recommend approval of action item 4F, your annual FSBA dues.
So moved.
Second.
Cameron Dyke, seconded by Mrs. Nelson. I know we have some discussion.
Imagine that. So I would like to invoke my right to not join Florida School Board Associations, like tried to give them another whirl. I just don't feel like this is the association that kind of aligns with my politics or my values. And there is another association out there. It's the Florida Coalition of Conservative School Board Members. Their dues are under $500 as opposed to like the $3,000. And I just feel like this association is smaller, it's leaner, and I feel like it has better connections with the legislature and the governor's office. And for me and my constituents, I think that's just a better alignment. And so I would like to, decline the opportunity to be in Florida School Board Associations and then bring back an invoice from the other coalition. Just as, if you don't know if you don't try it.
Are you gonna get that?
Yes, I'll get that.
I don't mind helping you, but I just don't know anything.
Yeah, I'll get it. And then, that leaves a balance of, a generous balance after that to just free up for professional development and stuff that, a lot of that at the Conservative School Board Member Coalition, just as a member, it provides that as just a part of your dues. So I just feel like it was, particularly as we're facing budget cuts and everything, it just seems more fiscally responsible of me.
Very good. All right, well, we have any further discussion on this? Hearing no other discussion?
Wait, were you gonna move forward with the vote? So I guess my question would be, do the rest of the board members choose to stay in FSBA?
Yes.
Okay, right,
Yes.
okay. Right.
So do we need to amend the,
You want to change my recommendation?
Yes, if you
Okay.
would, please.
Okay, my recommendation then would be to approve the annual FSBA dues minus Ms. Buson's membership.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Samberg, seconded by Mrs. Nelson. We have any discussion on that? Hearing no discussion on that, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you for that, and we will move on to old business. Mr. Superintendent, we have some updates on the new LaBelle High School.
Yes, sir. The new LaBelle High School is continuing to move and gaining a lot of speed as it comes forward, and the things that are happening. Has taken, as we knew it would, a lot of energy and time and attention. It's been very, very fun and interesting. I believe I can speak for all of our behalfs because it's, we know the gravity of what's going on and the impact that it's going to have, and so we're very excited to be doing the work. So we're learning a lot almost every single day, but it's been very good. To give you some specific updates on where we are, I'll let Mr. Buson give you some of the specific information and things that's happening.
Every day it has been moving quickly, and it's been fun, because every decision that we make every day is going to impact our students and impact our community for years to come. I mean, we're working on geotechnical cores, we're getting results back with this of how we need to do our foundations, we're learning where we have to tie for, this is kind of gross, but we have to learn where we're going to tie to our stores for our assistant cities. We're still on track for groundwork in late July. We're still working on, that's for all our utilities, all of our drains, all of our water, our elevations. It's a great learning experience. On Monday, probably at 11:59, we get 60% plans from our architect. We're having 2 weekly meetings with CRA and OAT, which have been very informative and very happy with the progress they're making. Our civil engineers are on board with this. There's like 7, sometimes 7 or 8 of us at the board or at the table. Not always present, but we're using Google Meets and everything. If we asked them to be here, they would all be here if we would have wanted to be, but we're trying to work with people that are a little bit further away. We are Oak is planning on having a site visit for their subcontractors here probably in the 4th week of May. So we're going to have a site visit, and we're going to drive the site, and they're going to be able to see what our site is, and then they're going to start submitting their bids on anything from fencing for the new construction to concrete, elevations to, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of moving pieces. And we've been in first gear for, we've been in low gear for a long time. I think we've switched to second gear and we're really moving along. Questions, comments, thoughts, something else that you don't want to know or what you do want to know?
I'm excited.
And there's one of the things that you are going to notice is at the board meetings that we're probably going to have a special section, within the finance piece, because once this gets started, it's going to be almost every board meeting, and sometimes we will have to invoke the second board meeting of the month that we chose to do as a extra board meeting, because we'll have so many buying things that can't wait. And so there'll be, over the next 18 months, you're going to see it really ramping up really quickly. And then this is going to be, we got to get approval for this purchase, this contract, or this set of materials, or these framing walls, or whatever it may be. And so there's going to be a lot of that. So that'll be something that you will actually be encountering here within the next 6-month period, I suspect.
So I do want to ask, I know that, because I did attend one of the meetings, I want to see what's going on, curiosity and everything. They were 30, 60, 90% is what they were looking at. Oak was talking about with bids from contractors. And you had just mentioned 60% coming in. Are they keeping you guys up to speed on where they're at with their contractors, handing their pricing into them to help
Yes,
them
right now,
along?
before this, they were getting, I interrupted you before you were done. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. So, and so is that, where are we at with that? Are they keeping you guys up to speed on where they are getting their pricing in from the subs?
Well, right now, we're just getting budget numbers from our subs and from what they are, with who they're working with right now. We have a brand new QR code that we can, that I've been giving out to all of our vendors, and we'll have it on our website. We have a QR code at the meetings that you were at.
Yes, sir.
And the 2 meetings that we had, so we have another QR code for that. I've been passing it out to all of our vendors, everybody that we work with, and that will be on our website. We have a tab on our website that you can just QR code it, you get signed up for that. But right now, they're working on budgets, and after we get 60%, that's when all the subcontractor contractors are submitting their bids. And it will be an RFP process through Oak. So it will be above the fringe for special facilities use, and also protected, under the school board money spending allocations.
Yeah, because I know Oak was wanting 30, 60, 90%, 3 different bids from our contractors. I thought that was kind of excessive.
My understanding is just budget numbers.
Budget, but still, I mean, but as budgets, that's a lot, asking to turn in 3 different times. That's why I was wondering where we were at with
And
that.
they were asking people, to my understanding, Mr. Swindle can correct me if I'm wrong, but, before 60, they were just looking for budget numbers to see where we were with the project. And now, since it's 60%, that's when the real RFPs are coming out for the real bids.
Based on the 60% budget, they'll start with
They're gonna start releasing it, because they did ask for 3 initially, the 30, 60, 90%. 3 different ones, because I spoke with, some other contractors about that, and I think you and I had some conversation about that, so I just wanted to see, were they still kind of going in that direction?
Yeah, once they get the 60% estimations from the contractors, they'll turn back around and start releasing those. Especially on earthwork. Earthwork, we gotta get past.
Yeah.
So we're fixing to get started on that last summertime. So, and by this time next year, you'll see concrete floors, you'll see walls, you'll see the shell of the building there. And so it's gonna start coming out of the ground pretty quickly over the next 6 to 9 months.
Start turning dirt, there's a lot of foundation stuff underneath the dirt before they ever see the floor.
That's right, yes, that's right.
A bit of concrete up, so.
Yep.
There's a lot of work to it.
And their official groundbreaking.
We are looking at, we were gonna try to get it done before school got out, but right now it's still a field. But when we come back, when school starts, there will be a field, there'll be earth being moved, there'll be yellow machines, there'll be somewhat of a parking lot where people, we can pull in and park, and we can do it more like a real groundbreaking with earth.
Commissioners, mayors.
Yes, sir,
people.
absolutely. People on horses and cowboys and
Great.
stuff like that, and bands, and so that's the plan.
Great.
Yep. I don't have an exact date yet, so we're gonna wait till we get back to school and get that hammered out on the date that works. We'll get Reverend Brown on a horse, I think, is what the goal was. Yes.
Yes.
Not a buggy, but a horse.
We're gonna get you on a horse.
A Shetland pony, Red.
You better stop messing with my friend like that.
horse? A Shetland pony, they're short though,
But
Rev, it's all right.
Leave them alone. Keep it moving.
Yeah. I couldn't resist, Rev, I apologize. So, all right, well, we will move on. If we have anything else there, Madam Attorney, do we have any updates?
Nothing in addition to what I've already updated you on.
Very good, very good. All right, well, board member business. Mr. Superintendent, I'm assuming you've got some board member business for us?
Yeah, I do. Two really quick items, and the most important one first. I think I spoke with everyone individually, but if I have not, Miss Alexis Arietta, she's over there. We got to move that podium. I got to be able to see her. She's got to be able to give me the eye if I'm doing something wrong. So Miss Alexis Arietta is assuming the role of a board secretary. So she's your secretary and my executive assistant. Same location, you know, as has been in the past. She brings a plethora of experience, professionalism to the table. We're very excited to work with her and the changes and things that she'll bring on behalf of our office. So obviously, if you need to reach out to her, you know where to find her, know how to get a hold of her. You'll start getting, we'll put her in on the text, informational text that we blast out to you guys periodically, so you can see it. Make sure you get her number, and so you'll know who she is, and we'll make sure that you're on that as well. So honored to have her on board, and looking forward to good times ahead. Last week, item number 2 real quick. Last week we held our Let's Talk Schools program, 2 in LaBelle and 2 in Clewiston, a 9 a.m. and a 6 p.m. one. And our goal was to engage the community on what's going on with their school system, give them the opportunity to talk to them and talk to us about strategic plan, academic, student growth, school calendar, start times, and then gave them the opportunity just to talk, you know, and ask us random questions. We had a total of, on all 4 of the different sessions, 12 in-person folks, and I think Francisco said 30 online, and roughly 30 online folks that followed along, paid attention, and listened to that there. And I did actually have some of them reach out to me and say, well, I wasn't able to be there, but I did watch it. It was interesting. So we know that it was. Obviously, you know, we had hoped for a bigger splash, you know, but at the end of the day, this is our first attempt, and we felt like a good one to reach out and give an update on where we were and what we were doing, and give the community the opportunity to buy into us, give us some direction on what they were doing. We took a lot of notes from the ones that we did have, and we're working on that. The strategic plan was one of the main things there, and we are putting some of the final touches on that, and we hope to have that back to you also at the May 20th meeting for final adoption and approval. One of the things that we did work on out of that, Dr. Mundy has a requirement that she engages the public, Ms. White does, and so we have a lot of caveats throughout the state that requires us to engage. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a school board advisory council and have quarterly meetings, and we'll rotate them back and forth, Clewiston LaBelle, and hopefully just start garnering, you know, a following and people that we can get to come to these and get them to give us the information. Let Dr. Mundy and Ms. White and whoever else that we have to have community engagement use that as a meeting platform to do that, and as well as give those citizens the opportunity to give us feedback, you know, on how's it going, what do you see like here, what can we do better to serve your students and stuff like that. So I appreciate some of you board members made it. We're glad you did, glad to have you. And for the folks that were able to attend, we're glad that they attended as well. So thank you very much. That's all I have at this time. Yes, ma'am.
Do we need to vote on moving from HR to executive assistant? Because there was an agenda request attached.
Okay. I'm sorry, there is. Do you have that? Does everyone have that? Okay, and so this is, and I apologize, it was on the bottom, and I did overlook that. And essentially what we're doing is we're moving the board meeting personnel reappointments, and at the bottom of that for county office is where we're moving Ms. Alexis Arietta from HR to the executive assistant position. And so therefore, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the the transfer and personnel reappointments of Mrs. Alexis Arietta to the county office administrative executive assistant.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Semberdak, seconded by Mrs. Nelson. Do we have any further discussion on it? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Very good. All right, thank you. So, we'll move. I have nothing at this time. Mr. Sammerdyke, do you have
A couple of quick things. I like all the information being presented on Facebook. We got in our school, all the different schools, different activities. It seems like every day there's something new on Facebook from Hendry County schools. And I just think that's great. And we need to be blasting that out because there's so many great things going on.
Can I give you an update, Francisco? I don't mean to catch you off guard, but do we have an update on how many views that we've had?
Right now, for this live stream, 194 total.
No, not tonight. On the PTE pushouts for Hendry County.
Oh, I do not have that in front of me.
But there was one alone had like 30,000 views. And so the total number, the last we heard, it was
huge.
It was huge.
Well, I just think it's great.
And that's, we talked about how do we reach our public? How do we share the positive image that we have? And that was one way. And I know that it costs money, but we reached upwards of over 50,000 people so far. Some of them may have been the same ones looking at the ones over and over, but nonetheless, when 50,000 views of Hendry County schools in that light, that's a good thing.
Positive light.
Yes, sir.
The only other thing was we have graduations coming up. So how are we notified? Like the first one before our next school board meeting is in Clewiston on the 16th.
Right.
Are you going to send out, do we meet somewhere?
Yes, sir. Yep. We'll push out the meeting place time. And this year, this is the first time I think ever that we've staggered them so that we'll all be able to attend both if you're able to. We'd love to have you on both. We'll have seating for you on the field so we can all march out with students and really enjoy that. So yes, sir, we'll make sure you all get that.
Thank you. That was it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I actually went on our website and it is not easy to find. I didn't see anything on there about graduation days.
The district wanted to go to schools.
I went on I pulled up the little app on my phone and looked through there, went to Clewiston High School. It's not easy to find at all. I think we need to have that very visible for people that are out of town and, looking to know, hey, when's my niece graduating, my nephew graduating high school? I think we definitely need to blast that out there where it can be seen very easily.
All right. Note taken.
Thank you. Ms. Nelson?
I just had a brain thing. Back to the quarterly meetings that we're discussing, are you still going to do the morning and the evening, or maybe?
I believe the team said just one a day,
That's, okay.
right? And the PM one, right? So we were going to do one a day at 6.
The morning session felt like wasn't
Right.
quite as interactive.
Okay.
Okay, that was just a question. But just basically Happy Teachers Week.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
And nurses, because I know
Yep.
we have some nurses in the district.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. I'm sorry, I'm ashamed that I didn't have that on my list, but yeah. Obviously, we couldn't do what we do without our teachers and employees, and so it is Teacher Appreciation Week, so if you see a teacher
I
home.
would just do education.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we're a village, but
Right.
teachers do need a little shout out, so that's all.
Oh, nothing but really appreciate our teachers. We couldn't do what we do without them. So we appreciate them so much. Other than that, I don't have anything.
All right. Ms. Busey?
I do. Want to echo the sentiments about appreciating our teachers. Thank you guys for showing up every day for these kids and not only giving them an education, but filling those cracks. Like we heard tonight about the character education and the countless things that happen and go on that maybe everybody doesn't know. So I want to circle back to a request. So I made several comments during board member comments leading up to tonight about wanting to have more information and more meaningful input into how or to what is going to happen with the school district as far as fiscal planning. Like Mr. Swindle said tonight, we're looking at some pretty serious cuts, potential cuts, and I know that I just would feel better. Like, I don't like finding out about programs being cut online and through petitions and screenshots. I would like for us to have the opportunity to sit down and have that information kind of ahead of, just show us, let's be transparent and talk about, you know, where our most critical needs are, where the programs are that may not be making the cuts, and so we can have more meaningful input into the direction of our fiscal planning. Because, I mean, it does say, I looked at the 3 policies, budget prep, district budget, and the fiscal planning, but in fiscal planning, it says the board shall develop, advertise, and then approve a budget. And so the shall is not a may, the shall is you will, you should. And so I would like for us to be able to just get together and do that, and maybe even look at potential policy revisions going forward that would address budgeting and how we are doing that. And I know that what Neola sends to us is I consider almost like little bare bones policies, and to ask for our attorney, Ms. Tanner, to have access to Neola to be able to tap into their database or to their inventory of policies they have, because they do this like country or, you know, across Florida, to be able to bring back examples of what other districts' budgeting and fiscal planning policies look like, so we can lock something down, so we can, you know, that's what we do, that's our shall. And so I didn't know what other members of the board thought about. The request from me tonight would be to give Ms. Tanner that access to Neola to bring.
I have access to Word docs, I don't know specifically about Neola,
That's just-
to go into the database.
Oh, no, that's different, okay.
Yeah, but to like even have that contact information with Neola to say, this is what I'm looking for, and bring it back. Because I just think it's going to be crucial going forward, because we've had a tremendous amount of allocations. After COVID came in, we were just getting money pushed to us from every which way, and now that's drying up. And
So I think what you're saying is, we pay Neola for them to provide a service, to send us policies to ensure that we comply with the Florida statutes and new regulations. But this Lucy's request sounds like she's wanting me to explore what other options there are in policy making, specifically related to financial planning. And instead of me recreating the wheel, going through Neola to do so?
correct. I think they have some solid work in place. I think they work for just about every school district in Florida. So
Maybe more. Maybe more.
I'm just confident saying Florida. I'm not branching into any other states.
Just so you'll know, I want to make sure that we're clear. I've heard you loud and clear about the budget process. We don't have anything to touch yet. Until we get the funding mechanism from the state, we're just holding our breath. We have some things that we know. You know, we've started looking at personnel, and a function of what happened tonight is what we call the right sizing. That has nothing to do with budget, and so that's different, you know. And so we know every year the team looks really hard. Ms. Duncan, Mr. Sanchez, finance, and they all get together and they start looking at what the allocation should look like, how many students we have, what's the expected growth, how many are graduating, how many, and so there's a long algorithmic formula to coming up with what teachers need at what grade level, and we do that every year. That's almost different. Now, budgetary wise, we have been preparing ourselves for, you know, a giant cut from the Florida legislature. And we have collapsed several positions. And we didn't bring that to you because that's an operational thing that we felt like had to happen regardless to be physically sound. And depending on how deep those cuts are, we may have to cut more. So we just don't know yet. But we've not began anything budgetary. We don't have a budget yet to build around. What our plan was internally, what we had talked about was holding a workshop. And workshopping one or more, if y'all like, it's up to you guys and what tolerance y'all had for how much y'all wanted to hear, learn, or engage and go through from the beginning. Here's what we have, here's where we're looking, and then, you know, and then it takes time for that to be valuable, you know, for what that takes. I know Dr. Mundy manages 6 grants, 7, a lot of grants, and so those are fairly rubricated from the federal government on where they have to be spent and what. And so for us to sit down with her and tell her where she can and can't and stuff, that's, you know, that's going to be a tough one because she's, you know, there's not a lot of wiggle room there on what she's able to do. And the same with Ms. Duncan manages some. Ms. Goff, everything she does is on a whole other side of a wall, you know, that's an adult ed, and she manages grants. And so anyway, there's some opportunity for us to work together. Workshopping was what we had envisioned on. getting you guys engaged in once we had that number, once we knew what budget looked like, once we knew where we needed to be, and work together on where we've seen them forecasted, and allowing you guys to look at that and add your input.
I appreciate that. I would like to know, so I was listening to a training in Orange County. I was doing my work and listening to it in the background, and I liked how they differentiated the what of the school board from the how of the administration. And so I would like to know, like, what kind of budgets, what kind of forecasted money allocations we're looking at getting, and what inputs we're making into the students with those allocations, or proposed or anticipated allocations.
Okay.
Because I think that's just a great value to us as board members, makes us better board members and more informed board members when, like we had the discussion tonight, that we're squandering money when we should be investing into this because we're buying furniture. And so, that allows us in our job to help educate and justify the community as to what that money is going for and why. So that's just my 2 cents.
And it's I will say, and I don't use this as a tool to make anybody feel inadequate whatsoever, but the school budgeting process is very long, hard, algorithmic, cryptic, and tough to understand and tougher to live through, right? And so it is difficult for a parent to see, there's lots of money here, but they're talking about cutting teeth, you know what I mean? They don't understand, and I understand, and I get it, so I try not to, make them, like I said, feel inadequate or anything, but it is tough to understand.
But the better we are, the better our knowledge is about that.
Sure.
The better ambassadors we are. Because, I know that we're getting inundated, and a lot of people will come to us because they're the person they elect, we're the people that they've elected to be their representatives. And to just have a more comprehensive grasp of that knowledge, be able to be better ambassadors, explain that, I think would just be a great value to the district and to the, help quell the online chatter and just, give good factual information. I think, I know nobody here on the board likes to see our community like in an uproar or upset about anything, and sometimes I think it's just misunderstanding of the information or misinformation that drives that. And so the better we are and the better we are able to articulate that to our constituency, I think it's just a positive for the district.
Awesome.
All right, thank you. And that concludes my comments.
Can I add one thing? I have a late breaking piece of data from Mr. Simmerdike. In the last 90 days, so 3 months, in 90 days, we've had 718,504 views of content on Facebook. That's 367% higher than previously before we started pushing information out. So,
we need to keep pushing.
That's staggering. That's staggering, that's happening.
I'm like,
I'm sorry, I apologize.
I just said I would like, okay, you want to talk first? Go, you talk first, Francisco.
No, I was just gonna say that just this last month, it was over 400,000 views.
Yeah.
So that's it's already a 50% increase. So yeah,
Right.
PT is definitely catching traction.
Awesome.
So I'm going to circle back to what I said the last time when we talked about social media views, and I want to see how that's translating into enrollment and recruitment. And that's it. That really does this time conclude my board member comments.
The only other thing I don't think anybody said was thank you to the Girl Scouts for coming in and bringing us these treats.
Adding the fluff.
So thank you for that. Support the Girl Scouts. I think that is a great organization. So y'all go buy some cookies. And Sodexo's gonna follow up with us, bring us some cookies some next time. That's right. So thank y'all for coming. This meeting is adjourned.